We're going.
All right. Oh, we are. Sorry, I was looking away.
That was some great intro.
I was like, I have a great intro, and then proceeded to stare into space for a good 45 seconds.
Jason, that is the type of introductory riffing that our listeners have come to respect and depend on us for. Welcome, everybody, to Underworld News Tonight.
Yep, welcome. Thanks for.
Unless Jason wants, Jason, do you want another mulligan on that intro riff?
Actually, I feel pretty good about it. Just take that quiet time to yourself. You probably had a rough.
Spend it. Can I just say it? Can I just say it? Spend it with your fucking families. Spend it with your family.
Unless you don't want to, then don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless your kids suck. Like, let's be honest, you know. Like, sometimes, like, you do pop out a stinker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I start us with a hot take, maybe? I think that this is for our listeners with scrotes.
Oh wow.
24 hours before you conceive.
Mm-hmm.
Pop one out. Just imagine there's a stinker in there. Just pop that one out.
Oh, like a practice, or you get all the gunk out?
Just get all the devils out. Get the fucking Hitlers out of there.
Oh wow, this is sort of a hot take. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where you learned about reproductive health.
The New Jersey state educational system.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure that's as maybe science based as it should be. But anyway, we're not here to talk about reproductive health.
No, we're here to talk about
only
real
tangentially.
Science.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Jason, I do feel bad. I feel like I interrupted you last week when I asked you to explain the show in front of our guests, and I would hate to. You know, this week it's just you and me.
Right.
It's just you and me. It's intimate again. You know.
Yeah.
I think
it's been
Scott, Natalie, the Dillon Street Boys were great, but I think it's time for you and me, Jason, to get a little cozier. Yeah. And maybe if you could whisper, just you, me, and our. I think I think I don't need to look up the number. I think let me check right now. I want to be accurate. 11.4 million listeners. I think, is that right?
Wow. Yeah. No, I think that was the last Nielsen rating. I don't know. Their podcast. Is there a company that does podcasts?
Yeah, it's the potties.
The potties. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we have a very good potty rating.
Oh man!
If there's one thing I know, it's potties.
Anyway, this is an intimate experience. So, Jason, I want to give you your space.
Okay.
Can you please explain what this show is and what it's about and who we are?
We are Jason Strong and
all right, wait, sorry, Jason. I forgot to tell these people our merch is out by the time that this episode is up and you are listening to it. We have a sweatshirt, a water bottle, a t-shirt, a hat. Is that it? Did I forget something? Sweatshirt, water bottle, t-shirt, hat.
Did the butt plug fall through?
The butt plug did fall
metaphorically.
through.
Okay.
Yeah, metaphorically and literally. Yeah, I think for me it was at the end of the. Yeah, no, never mind. I had a joke that I'm not going to make about our merch because our merch is actually very good quality. I've looked into this. It does seem like we're proud of what we're offering. So this is going to be available, and you could check it out on our social media or at underworldnewstonight.com. And by the way, guys, I know that there was a bit of a, we were a bit of a tease with the hat. I do assure you the technical difficulties were legitimate. They were more complicated than. I don't think they were necessarily more complicated. I think just Jason and I are both new at this. I'm not new at making promises, but I'm new on delivering on them. So I apologize for that. But the stuff is out now, and because there was a delay, we're going to extend it by 2 more weeks. That if you share the show, you can get a free hat. Just make sure that you tag us or email us a screenshot at underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Just something that we can see that you did it, really. On whatever your social media is of choice. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason. I forgot what we were talking about. This is Underworld News Tonight. I'm Andrew Michaels, man of the people. I am here, of course, with Jason Strong. As of today, a man with a better human rights record than the state of Nebraska.
Wow. Thank you. or I feel like maybe that's probably a low bar to clear. I'm hesitant to ask why today, but you know what? I'll look it up afterwards.
We have you know the chart we have in the studio, in the definitely real Underworld News Tonight studio. That's not both of our houses and a metaphorical service I pay $20 a month for.
Right. Yeah. Oh, is that what that is? That chart I've been seeing in the break room.
Yeah, the days without a human rights violation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
at 9.
9. Okay. Yeah.
We would be at 14 if you didn't waterboard that guy at the Taco Bell.
Well,
especially because you were wrong about what a chalupa is.
Yeah. You know, I'm still kind of unclear about what a chalupa is, to be honest with you. I mean, they taste good.
Have you had a lupa?
Actually, yeah.
Picture it, but more cha.
Cha. Yep. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys were listening for the best joke of all time, it just happened. You can turn off the show. Otherwise, the thing we just talked about is a good segue, because I think, Jason, you're opening us up on a bit of a fast food story. Is that right?
I am. With a little bit of a little bit of sexy international intrigue.
Ooh, boy, sexy and international.
Yeah.
What's our source for this one?
It is the New Zealand Herald. nzherald.co.nz.
.nz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man. Where's Old Zealand? Do we know where Old Zealand is? I've never heard anything about Old Zealand. I at least know about Old York. I know about Old Brunswick. I know about Old Jersey. Old Jersey is actually a tax dodge island, which is not a joke. I do not know a fucking thing about Old Zealand.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And it was really incredible, the foresight that the folks naming these towns had, that they added Old York, in anticipation of 700 years later, there being a New York.
Well, they had to clarify that they had to clarify too, because they were like, New York is going to be more notable, but there's cool shit in Old York too.
Yeah,
they have a pirate museum.
Really, that does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, at least I've heard that. I looked into places to go in England when I was there. I visited the UK a few times, and I was looking at places to go, and I looked at York, and it's not. For any of our York listeners, I'm not going to say the consensus was don't go there.
Okay.
But the consensus was maybe it wasn't the top choice.
Okay. Sure. No, that's good to know.
For some reason, people prefer Bath.
So, if I were to decide I want a vacation in New York this year, you're recommending New York versus...
I think I would recommend New York, because you can stay with my grandpa Steve, listener of the show.
Yeah.
The only grandparent who listens to the show. I don't think Grandma Mary can hang. And he could show you how to make a good old-fashioned New York egg cream.
Man. All right, we'll talk more about this after the show, but sign me up.
The separate egg cream podcast hasn't started yet. Sorry, Jason, tell me. This is from New Zealand Herald. Fast food story, sexy international intrigue. I'm curious.
Headline: Australian man escapes jail for exposing his penis at Hungry Jack's after Super Viagra orgy.
So I have a few questions. First off.
As do I. Yes, there's a lot in that headline. But please, let's drill down.
All right, so what the fuck is a Hungry Jack's?
A Hungry Jack's, as near as I can determine, is the Australian version of Burger King.
Wow,
the logo,
isn't that something?
Yeah, the logo looks the same. The red sign with the yellow buns, but it says Hungry Jack's instead of BK.
Huh.
According to the website, they're the home of Australia's home of the Whopper. Is
Hungry Jack like a guy instead of the Burger King? I think the Burger King they never fleshed out as a mascot. The Burger King is defined by his lack of personality, and that's the problem. But that is something, though, because
right, and his sort of creepy off-puttingness. I feel like that's kind of nodded at in the commercials. No, maybe you're right. Hungry Jack's, like, Australia. Maybe they're even less fans of monarchy than we are in the United States.
Isn't that something, though? One day you're a king, and the next you're a Hungry Jack like the rest of us.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just like me and Jason.
Yep. Real Hungry Jack.
I don't feel bad for Hungry Jack, though, because he's in a restaurant.
Well, yeah. Yeah, presumably he owns hundreds, if not thousands of restaurants.
He could be full Jack whenever he wants.
Right. Maybe it says something about the quality of the food there.
Yeah, this is not a good advertisement.
Right. That he owns a chain of restaurants, but is still hungry. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the problem. That's the problem that Subway has too. People say the problem is that their bread is made out of yoga mat chemicals, and that their tuna is technically fucking a fish that was eradicated in the Soviet Union in 1932. But no, the problem with Subway is that their food is so bad that it made their mascot a pedophile.
Wow, that is a hot take. You think so you're saying Subway? You're saying that sandwiches are maybe a catalyst for pedophilia.
I'm claiming jester's privilege that we can't be sued for this. Parody, non-actionable. I think that if he ate at I think that if he went to Quiznos, things would have turned out very differently.
I think no argument from me on that account.
I always preferred Quiznos. Anyway, sorry. Second question. Yeah. What the fuck is Super Viagra?
I am so glad you asked, Andrew. So the dude in question, his name's David Richardson, a farrier from Humpty.
I'm sorry. Third question. What the fuck is a farrier?
Couldn't tell you. Oh, do they put shoes on horses?
How is that still a job?
Well,
I feel like you have to do other shit. You have to be like a horse professional who your job includes the shoes now.
But he lives in somewhere called fucking Humpty Doo. He could be, his job title could be wizard. And if he came from Humpty Doo,
if you live somewhere remote, that's all the more reason for people to have fucking cars, Jason.
All right, now I'm gonna.
Sorry, I understand. I'm maybe coming off a bit aggressive right now.
No, of course, yeah. I know you're real sensitive about farriers.
I just want to know what they do. Should I be a farrier? Is it easy? Is it hard?
Yes, a farrier. Wikipedia now. So second source for this story. That's got to be some kind of record. Farrier is a specialist in equine hoof care.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. It combines some of blacksmith skills, some of veterinarian skills to care for horses' feet.
All right, hold on. Jason, I'll edit this out if not. Can we consult a veterinarian, aka your wife, not now, about how the fuck this job still exists?
Yeah. I could ask her right now, or do you want... Yeah. We could do it in as a future.
You could ask her now. Okay. So Jason's wife's a veterinarian. He's going to ask her how the fuck there's still somebody whose full-time job is being a horseshoe guy. So our listeners know.
Again, he lives in Humpty Doo, Australia.
Humpty
Doo.
I
would believe anything.
But no, my counter argument is like, you need a fucking car to live in the middle of nowhere, and you don't want it to take 9,000 days to get to Sydney.
Right, but presumably he's not, there's other people there. He's just not the car guy. He's the horse guy.
Sure, but like, oh my God. You know, people fucking say that us fucking, you know, I'm from New... people say that us fucking liberal soy boy podcasts or whatever the fucks don't have real jobs.
Yeah, I sure do say that. Yeah.
How are you making a full-time living as a farrier, as a horseshoe man? How often do horses change their shoes?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I guess after I've pissed off the wind chill community so bad, I don't necessarily.
Now we're going to alienate horse people.
Yeah, we do want to thank our farrier listeners.
Yes.
If you are a farrier, email us about like how much. I'm looking up the median farrier salary right now.
Right, for Australia. Yeah.
In Australia, yeah. All right, let me see. Median farrier salary.
I feel like
Australia.
Like, I think in some places, even in
hold on, I think they make more money than I do. So,
thank you. I'm told. I've been told that horses change their shoes every 6 to 12 weeks.
Every 6 to 12 weeks.
From their feet.
From their feet, excuse me.
How long does it take to change a horse's shoe?
7-8 hours. I don't know.
Per hoof?
No, I feel like if you're good, they do it pretty quick. That I have seen.
Okay, sure. So here's what I'm saying.
Because horses aren't thrilled about doing it, so you don't want to make it take forever.
So 4 feet every 6 to 12 weeks. If you have, let's say, 12,000 people in Humpty Doo, and you are the Humpty Doo farrier, and let's say 4,000 of those people have horses, if that's a horse per 3 people, which seems like more than a horse per household in a small town where you're likely to have many multiple child households, right? We're great at math here. So let's say that's per 3,000 people. So let's say you then have 3,000 horses every 6 to 12 weeks. So that's 52 weeks. Each of them are changing about, let's say, 5 times a year. If we're going to average it out at like 10 weeks, right? Does that seem about right? So you're changing 60,000 hooves a year. If you can do that in 20 minutes, so that's 60,000 times 0.3, that's 20,000 hours. So then 20,000 divided by 24. All right, no, that is still working 833 days a year. So no, it is hard. How long does it take? But it's quicker than 20 minutes, right?
Yes, I think so. But also, your estimate of 12,000 people is way off. There's actually 4,300.
Okay, 4,300. So let's
Humpty
say there are 1,000 horses. There are 4,000 hooves that you're changing. And actually, I was saying 20 minutes per hoof and not 20 minutes per horse, so that doesn't make any fucking sense. So let's say you have you said 4,300, 1,000 horses. You are changing 4,000 hooves. It takes you 2 minutes a hoof. That's 8 minutes a horse. So 1,000 horses, 8 minutes, 10 times a year or 5 times a year. So that's 40,000 minutes a year.
Okay.
Divided by 60, 666 hours, divided by 24. You are working 27 days a year. Or I guess no, that's 27 full days. Let's divide that by 3. No, let's multiply that by 3. Sorry.
Right. I mean, now I'm kind of sold.
You're working 83 days a year as a farrier.
Yeah, it does say again, Wikipedia here. the town is a popular stopping point for tourists traveling between Darwin and Kakadu National Park. Has many attractions of its own. Main industries are agriculture and tourism. So it sort of tracks that there might be more horses there than
all
average.
Right, sure. You know what? Constructive criticism for our farrier listeners. Roll up your sleeves, become a man, and start a podcast.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like this guy might be doing okay.
All right, so go on. So sorry. So this didn't answer the question of what Super Viagra is.
Right. Yes. So he had taken a substance, according to his lawyer, Peter Maley. According to his lawyer, he had taken a substance known as Pitbull Super, which is quote
Super.
It is quote a Super Viagra. The substance, the article goes on to say, contains multiple erectile dysfunction medicines and promises on the packet to quote give a man an erection that lasts for days. So
you don't wait. So
now I have the question.
For days? Yes. I don't want it. All right, listen.
No, I cannot think of. I can think of vanishingly few times in my life where having an erection for days was something that something I would have sought out or something that would have been at all helpful or desirable.
Yeah, that's something you're gonna regret 8 minutes into the first day.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, anyway, it's like I faked sick to get home from school as a kid before I get it, but
right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So he took the Pitbull, Super Pitbull. Enjoyed.
Can I ask, by the way?
Yeah, please.
Just to clarify, is this sponsored by Mr. Worldwide himself?
No, it's just a. The article actually has an image of the packaging, and we'll post this on our social medias. Yeah, it just says long lasting, no headache, 62,000 milligrams, 100% genuine, natural formula, lasts for days. So
can we ask a follow-up question to your vet wife? Are pit bulls particularly known for their erections?
No. I can answer that. Yeah.
Right.
No more than any of your sort of rat terrier dogs.
Yeah, because I got a German Shepherd and he's neutered. Mm-hmm. I have seen him get an erection once when I gave him a slider.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. It really speaks to my cooking ability.
It really does. Yes. So after enjoying his time with, quote, a number of young ladies, Mr. Richardson, who was remained completely rigid. And it says that the article says when his penis began to split, quote, he started to panic.
Okay. So two follow-up questions.
Right.
Number one, did he enjoy his time with these young ladies in the Hungry Jacks?
No.
Okay, so this was
it's pretty obvious from context clues that he was in a different location.
As Australians call it, in a bungalow.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I don't think we have any Australian listeners. If we do, let us know if that would be a good place to have an orgy. Have you fucked in a bungalow? I'm going to make that the question of the week, and of course, we're going to have the poll on Spotify for your favorite stories. So vote in both of those.
All right.
The second question is: so you said his penis started to split.
Yes.
I guess I know the answer. In half at the eye of the Cyclops.
I'm going to guess again, just context clues from the article. That since when his penis began to split, he decided to go to Hungry Jack's. That maybe they meant just like the skin.
How are they going to fucking help you? How are they going to help you? This isn't. He's not a Burger King. He doesn't have a royal physician here.
Yeah. Right. No, I think it was just sort of a mild, like maybe skin irritation. And then he thought, well, I'm hungry. This isn't working. I've had my
So
enjoyed my days long erection.
I will say one thing about this. And this is absolutely true.
Only one thing.
I picked a bad day to eat a Twizzlers pull and peel for the first time in probably 20 years before recording this episode.
So anyway, Mr. Richardson, his genitals being too sensitive to wear clothes, he just put a towel over his lap and went through the drive-thru of the Hungry Jack's. Quote, the home of the Whopper across the ditch. So I guess in Australia, the Pacific Ocean is the ditch.
Is it a ditch if there's water in it? I feel like once there's water, it is an ocean.
I mean, given that this is Australia, they can. I would like all bets are off as far as like naming conventions. It could be just whatever.
Yeah, I think the thing to keep in mind here is we're judging his decision making, right? But it is Australia, so when you take Viagra that lasts for days, the blood does all rush to your head.
Yeah.
Get it? Because they're upside down.
Yeah. What?
Because they're upside down because of the world. So that's that.
Oh.
Sometimes a joke is so good.
No, you're right.
To explain it. That's when I know I've made a good joke that I should try and stand up.
No, that was on me because I was I sort of tuned out for a second.
That's true. It's a good reflex to give me as a comedian. Always blame the audience. The problem I think with you not getting that joke, Jason, is that you're too woke.
I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a real SJW.
Do people still use that term?
I don't know.
Nazi listeners, do you still call people SJW? Email us at underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Subject line,
go ahead,
hey, Jew!
Alt-right, go ahead and send us a message.
Exactly. Here's my address. Send me a letter.
The problem being while he was at the drive-thru of Hungry Jack's, again, home of the Whopper across the ditch.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Do they call it the Whopper, or is it? So do they call it the Whopper there, or is it called the Whopper across the ditch? Like you have to cross a ditch to get the Whopper.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I assumed it was like a Whopper across the home of the Whopper, like the Whopper that any of us could get today for whatever reason.
We could buy a Whopper right now.
Right. But across the ditch, the Pacific. But
because if you're there, it's not across the ditch. If you're there, it's just the Whopper. No. If you're there, Burger King's the home of the Whopper across the ditch.
Right. But maybe Hungry Jack's isn't the home of the Whopper in Australia. Like Burger King is the home of the Whopper here. Maybe in Australia, Hungry Jack's is home of something entirely different.
But they say it's the home of the Whopper across the ditch.
You know what
I'm wondering is that do they call it the Whopper across the ditch in Australia? Because that makes no fucking sense because you're not across the ditch because position is relative.
Right.
Their branding is fucked. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
This is why people are going in with their splitting fucking pull and peel dicks after these goddamn orgies. Not trying to be crass here.
I'm on the Hungry Jack's website right now. I'm going to go ahead and order delivery.
All right, can you order me some Super Viagra? Some Pitbull XL?
Some Pitbull XL.
Is that what it's called? Pitbull XL?
Super Pitbull.
Super Pitbull. Great. Controversial entry in the Super Mario series, by the way.
Yeah, that didn't go over. So, okay. To answer your question that I'm pretty sure you asked, but I don't. Hungry Jack serves the Aussie Whopper. amongst some variations, such as the tropical Whopper.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have the Aussie Whopper and the tropical Whopper.
Okay. So I think that's better. Okay, so calling it the home of the Whopper across the ditch, I guess they were targeting American readers who they know are interested in this sort of thing, which fair enough, because you and I, the ultimate Americans, kind of, I think that if we were to compare ourselves, I think you're more the Hulk Hogan to my Macho Man Randy Savage. Is that fair to say? Because I'm Jutalian he was.
Yeah, no. I'll be Hulk Hogan. No. How about well, he's dead now.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan is really racist. No. Well, presumably Macho Man's also dead. I'm saying we're not dead, so that is a difference.
I was going to say Rowdy Piper.
You're definitely. I think Rowdy as Piper's good for you. I love Rowdy Piper.
I did too.
And
I did
Macho
too.
Man. This is true. Since
Brilliant
I got back
actor.
into pro wrestling, I got back into pro wrestling, every week before we record, I watch the Macho Man Randy Savage Cream of the Crop promo. To get myself into the funny boy Andrew Michaels headspace.
Right.
That's not a joke.
You know what? Actually, it just now occurs to me the periodical that I'm reading this from is in New Zealand, but the story took place in Australia. So maybe across the ditch refers to the body of water between Australia and New Zealand, not the body of water between Australia and the United States.
Is that where the Marianas Trench is? I'm going to sound like such a fucking idiot. Like
it is not. No.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to tell myself to edit this out. I will not.
I said that very, very confidently. Now I don't know.
Oh my God! If I am right, this is
the most research
Jason, can I just say that if I'm right about this, this is going to be the first week that this episode is flagged not safe for work, not because I say fuck so many times, but because I come.
Right. Please. No, sorry.
Curse you, God.
It's not far from there. Why did I refrain
from pork for you?
It's not far from there. It's between Japan and Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
If you can remember that. And Guam. I think Guam is kind of like right above it or close to it.
You know what? You want to know a fun fact about Papua New Guinea, by the way, and then we should get back to the story. One thing that I've learned recently about Papua New Guinea is people from there, they do get really uncomfortable when you call it Daddy New Guinea.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it.
So is there, all right, so we have New Guinea. Now there's Papua New Guinea. Is there like a Mama Old Guinea or a nephew?
Is there a Bride of New Guinea?
Right.
Bride of Old Guinea.
Right. Where's that?
Oh my God. I think this is good. This is gold, but I think it's going to get accidentally racist really fast if we continue.
I don't know.
So let's move on. Let's move on with a white guy. Let's move on with a crime definitely committed by a white guy.
Yeah. No. I will say though that Bride of Old Guinea is my favorite Vincent Price movie. So anyway, Mr. Richardson at the drive-thru of the Hungry Jacks after downing a Super Pit Bull. I love this word. His tumescence was witnessed by a 16-year-old worker who was, quote, reduced to tears by the experience. I
feel bad. That's actually really upsetting. No, I feel bad.
Yeah.
And obviously, listen, it's easy for us as people who didn't have to deal with this to make light of this, but I do want to shed light on the fact that customer service workers, especially women and especially teenagers and teenage girls, do have to deal with really uncomfortable and dangerous situations for not enough money and not enough protection.
Absolutely.
And that's upsetting. But what are we to do about it? Jason, go on.
Right. And I have to imagine, particularly if you're working at a Hungry Jack's in Humpty Doo. Probably.
Can I just say it? If you are a Hungry Jack's listener in Humpty Doo, I do comedy for you specifically.
Yeah.
I'm like the Man in Black.
if we ever are popular enough to justify doing a tour, we should start at the Hungry Jacks.
I think the best place to start.
Well, Jason, push all the tables out of the way.
If we're ever popular enough to do a tour, you want to start with an intercontinental tour at the continent furthest away.
Exactly. Right.
The first tour wouldn't be like Champaign, then Denver, then like our guests' hometowns.
No. We want to spend thousands of dollars to
make 35.
Not just to get to Australia, but to get to a town of 4,000 people.
We want to go on the Australian Greyhound bus.
Right. Oh, okay.
My God. I think that if we went to Humpty Doo, both of us would come back addicted to crocodile.
I think so too. with tattoos we don't remember getting, and
I would come back. I would come back, and my wife would. I would come back to my and Marissa would be like, "Hey, babe, how was your temp?" I'd be like, "Sorry, babe, it's my name's Cobra now."
Right. And this time the lumps on your penis are not mosquito bites.
Good news, it's not dick cancer. Bad news, it's not a mosquito bite.
Right. You got the Humpty Doo.
All right, let's take it easy.
We gotta close.
By the way, I just want to. We should get back to the story. I just think this is a good time to thank my father-in-law for listening. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't happen.
For several reasons. The main thing is that I know I couldn't handle the temptations of Humpty Doo.
Yeah. Yeah, all the farriers and
exactly.
So much.
Man.
All right,
I think farrier is actually the job I would be worst at in the world. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So after he was arrested, papers picked this up. There's some, as one would expect, sort of goofy headlines. Boners are better at Hungry Jack's. The local paper says.
That's not that funny. Is that? Maybe in Australia, maybe there's a headline. Maybe it's a marketing slogan. I'm wondering if it's something that doesn't read here. Because if the marketing slogan is "Burgers are better at Hungry Jack's," then that is funny.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
You're right. I think that is.
If it, like what I'm saying is, if somebody was just jerking off at McDonald's and I said like boners are better at McDonald's, you would be like, "Are you having a fucking stroke?"
No. Right.
You're
absolutely right.
But it's here it would probably be like, here's a way not to have it.
Yeah.
If I was more hacked. Yeah.
But so anyway, the judge, he brought to trial, decided that the medication was dangerous, said that recommended that Mr. Richardson probably should have decided to use Uber Eats instead of going through the drive-thru at Hungry Jack's. But there was no evidence that it was anything sexual he was trying to do. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, like, I guess there's two questions. Number one is like, if I was walking around naked, so like, he's being charged with public nudity, or is he just not being charged with anything?
It does not give an exact charge.
Yeah, because I can't just walk around nude and just because it's not sexual.
Oh, no, right. Well, it did say that he put a towel over it, but imagine, you're working the drive-thru at the Hungry Jack's, an experience I'm sure we've all had, and someone pulls up in their Land Rover with a clearly erect and potentially bleeding penis under a towel. Even if it's covered by the towel, that's not going to be the high point of your day. You know what I mean?
No, it's going to be bad. I guess like if I saw that, I would be upset, but I also wouldn't. I don't know how I would react because it's like, once again, like you should go to a hospital. The Whopper isn't going to help one way or another. I guess in the sense that it might stop your heart and thus your blood flow. but like that's not the way to stop all of this.
And
do you think? You know what I bet it is? I think that he saw He watched Super. I have a theory. He watched Super Size Me. You know how in Super Size Me the guy can't get an erection anymore because he eats too much McDonald's.
Sure. I don't remember that, but I take your word for it.
No, that is true. He does specifically say he gets ED from eating too much McDonald's. Would have been solved if he went to Wendy's, because she is Wendy. If you've seen those ads recently, Wendy is a MILF. No, sorry, I don't want to make that joke because that is
right. That's like his.
No, that is a real person. No, Wendy, that is a real person. That is not a joke. The comedians, comedians. I'm gonna leave that in to say that male comedians, we need to move away from that sort of a thing.
Yeah,
myself included.
Be better.
And I am doing better right now, but I'm not doing better enough to put in the marginal amount of effort required to edit a podcast. But anyway, all I'm saying is I think that he would have gotten. So it's his idea that he was going to eat. I think that he watched Super Size Me.
Right.
He saw that the guy got erectile dysfunction, and he thought, I'm just going to eat fast food until I can't get an erection anymore.
Right, like it would counteract the super pit bull. Yeah. That actually makes some sense. Yeah.
It does, but it doesn't enough. Don't.
Even the judge noted, probably should have went to the doctor instead of a drive-through.
Yeah, but if you're going to get food, do Uber Eats. And if you're going to get Uber Eats, don't do burgers, because that doesn't keep well.
Yeah. He did, so he had, I guess, the equivalent of 9 months of probation, and apologized to the 16-year-old that had to witness this. But would surely be a horrific sight.
Surely horrific, but she's the 16-year-old Hungry Jack's worker in Humpty. She saw 11 other bleeding penises since the trial, like before the apology, between the dick and the apology.
Well, regardless, it's sounds Humpty sounds like a fascinating place. I don't know about Super Pit or Pitbull Super. Sorry, I had it.
Yeah,
I had it backwards. But
yeah, so
there we go.
I guess a few things. Number one, if you're a listener of if you're going to take any supplement, because I don't think that Pitbull Super is the same in every market, even within Australia. I'm just going to say, I'm going to have to assume that Pitbull Super, I could probably print Pitbull Super labels on my, it's like when you go to the fucking smoke shop and you see quote unquote mushrooms and it's obviously not.
Yeah.
And you don't know what that is, but then you see I could print that label on Amazon, right? I'm going to say, number one, don't take the Pitbull Super.
No,
start with normal Viagra. If you've never taken normal Viagra, start with that. Consult your physician, of course, because that's not me. Even though I am Jewish, I cannot be your doctor.
Learn that the hard way.
Number two,
I'm still itching.
Yes. Do you still want that spleen back, by the way? Because I feel like you told me you weren't using it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do with it at this point.
Because I think the jerky side hustle.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing is I hate to say it, but this is where I do think, I've mentioned this a few times, half Jewish, half Italian. I've said this. And I do think that this is where my Jew-Italian upbringing would have benefited him. Because after a full family-style Italian meal, you start with your bruschetta, you have your mozzarella and carrozza for your appetizer, for your antipasto, then you have your gnocchi, and then you have your maybe your biscotto with some espresso. There is nothing that will make you less horny.
Yeah. No, I'm completely flaccid after hearing all that.
Thank you. I think that I am the one who leaves our listeners the most flaccid. I consistently win in the polls.
You think so?
I
don't know if that's something I want to know.
We saw in our listener fan poll that Natalie was the favorite guest we had in January. If you didn't vote in the listener fan poll, you can vote in all of our future listener fan polls because you're going to be doing it on guests on the Underworld News Tonight Tinfoil Hat Squad on Facebook. I also won a different poll, which wasn't published in that group, which is most flaccid making guest voice. Host voice.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. When I watched the clips, the video clips of this, which I don't do anymore because I'm sitting at, like, this could not be a more amateur setup with the camera sort of looking up at me and the shitty, like, desk lamp illuminating all the flaws in my skin. Looking at the videos.
For now, buy the merch so Jason can get a better setup.
When I've seen the videos, the clips, I feel like I have the raw sexual charisma of a mall Santa.
You know, there are plenty of families that have been ruined by mall Santas.
I think I'm going to stop you right there. And
all right, so should we move on to the next story?
Yes, I think you have a you have a some what ET news, UFO news.
I have some Sorry, Jason, can you use the correct term? Sorry, I want to make sure we're being scientific.
UAP. Yeah. No, thank you. Yes, thank you for holding me accountable.
That is correct, Jason. Now, first, I actually have another question for you. I wasn't just putting you on the spot for no reason.
Please.
Can you tell our audience a little bit about your job?
My job?
Yeah, your job. No, don't say, oh, I do, your real job, vis-a-vis how it connects to this podcast.
Oh, right. I'm a CIA shill.
Yes.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Specifically to discredit and debunk stories that Andrew picks out about UAPs, UFOs, USOs, UW.
Jason,
yeah.
Thank you. Jason, can I ask you a second question? What does a Hungry Jacks and this podcast have in common?
Oh, boy. They're both traumatizing to be a part of.
Nope. You've been caught with your pants down.
Oh, shit. That's pretty good.
This is an article in The Sun written by Callie Patterson, not Patterson. I'm not having a stroke. Her name is spelled like the safest town in New Jersey, but without the R. Terror from Beyond. This is the headline. Terror from Beyond. U.S. is not able to defend itself against alien invasion. Government admits in bombshell report. Shit. I don't understand why they keep using this term bombshell for things, by the way, because I feel like what's inside the bomb is what's dangerous.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great point.
I am on fucking fire tonight.
Yeah, I've never even thought about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this shocking revelation, I'm reading from the article now. Thank you, Callie. The shocking revelation follows an investigation by the Department of Defense's Office of the Inspector General, which has been looking into measures taken by the Defense Department and military services regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena, not unidentified aerial phenomena. We know about USOs. We know about interdimensional travel. If you don't listen to past episodes of this podcast, you'll enjoy them. The Defense Department, if you haven't stopped listening by now, the Defense Department has been collecting data on and analyzing UAPs, also known as WAPs, since the 1940s. While these objects are commonly referred to as UFOs, we've covered this, they are not considered to be any object that is not immediately identifiable and can be categorized in airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, government or industry programs, or foreign adversary systems. And in any case, we are not prepared to do a goddamn thing, according to Inspector General Robert Stork. And do you know why you should trust Mr. Stork, Jason?
He has the title Inspector General, that's pretty awesome.
That, and if you're not going to trust a stork, how the fuck are you going to be born?
No, exactly so. Yeah.
As a kid, you learn that the stork brings babies. Of course, you learn as an adult that's not true because it's correct, but you learn it is true because if you piss off the stork as an adult, they'll take your fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely recommend.
How do you think my voice got like this?
Yeah, do not fuck with storks.
So, Mr. Stork released the shocking report on January the 25th, last month, which highlights how the Defense Department has been lacking in its response. Given the significant public interest in how the DoD is addressing UAPs, we are releasing this unclassified summary to be as transparent as possible with the American people about our oversight work on this important issue, said Stork in a statement. And the office found that the main problem... Yes. Sorry.
No,
Jason, it is your boss after all, so please.
Yeah. So the story is saying that we're not prepared militarily.
We're not prepared militarily. We're not prepared bureaucratically. We're not prepared diplomatically. We're not prepared emotionally. We're not prepared sexually. We're not prepared physically. This is why I've been taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you were to walk in as unprepared as your boss into my dojo, this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my dojo, it would be quite a problem. I will just say that.
Sure.
So the Inspector General said, specifically, the watchdog found the Defense Department does not have a comprehensive and coordinated approach to address UAP, and has instead has used varying processes to collect and analyze different UAP encounters. So we don't necessarily have we don't have a one size fits all. I mean, it's honestly like, the more I do multiple things in my life, this is the character dropping for a minute, and the real Andrew Michael's coming out. The more I do different things in my life, I kind of realize it's all the same. We're like, with this podcast, like, I kind of, like, a big part of this, and when we talk behind the scenes, just dropping the fucking facade for a minute, is figuring out, like, what works and what doesn't. What is our approach to figuring out what a good story is? What is our approach to an episode? And we're still figuring it out, as you guys can tell. And like, with comedy and like with why I've actually taken up martial arts, like, it ends up being like the same problem that I'm dealing with both, which is like, I need to breathe, I need to slow down, I need to think, and not like try to run off of instinct and fear and like that, and probably in my day-to-day life. And with this, it seems like the problem is the government doesn't have any way to like even analyze what do we need to do to both look at whether or not a UFO encounter is true, and if it is true, look at what that means.
Right. Yeah. Does this run counter to some of the other like revelations that have been made? So we're not prepared. The government is not prepared, but simultaneously has evidence. Like, it seems a little incongruous.
I think the government having evidence doesn't counteract them being unprepared. I think this would counteract a lot of the more explosive revelations, like those of David Grush, those associated with, if you're familiar with certain alien types like the tall whites, which we haven't covered yet, but I'm really looking forward to eventually having a story that lets me talk about the tall whites. And I'm not just talking about one of our more enthusiastic listeners, David. But like, I think that in both cases, like, I think that what this contradicts is the idea that the government has an alien body or has aliens that are directly working for or with the government.
Right.
But I don't think it contradicts just the idea that like we have some form of evidence and we know they're there.
Right.
Like, think about the times in your life when you felt most incompetent about something. You know what the problem is, you just have no idea of how to deal with it or even look at it and figure out a solution.
Right. Well, yeah, and a lot of it has to do with like the unknown. What could we possibly do? Because it could be anything. You know what I mean?
We're going to talk more about that, and we're going to talk more about that type of fear in another alien story that I got for today too. So stay tuned for that.
Good.
But like, yeah, no, we can't. Like, I think this idea, because I think fundamentally, like, the thing that we need to immediately accept is any aliens that are here are technologically superior.
Sure.
And if they don't have the military technology to deal with us, it's by choice, and their civilization has probably had that and chosen not to use it.
I grant you, yeah, I see that argument, but I don't know. Yeah,
I understand there are some assumptions, or maybe just hasn't chosen to, but like is capable of attaining it, right? Like if you can attain interdimensional travel, you could fundamentally attain the atom bomb within weeks, right?
I think. I mean that feels right, but yeah.
What do you think would be quicker? If aliens are here and they're doing it either interdimensionally or intergalactically,
sure.
And let's say they're totally peaceful and they're just here to watch, and let's say we get aggressive with them. And let's say we get so aggressive that we decide to take it to their home turf because we think they are invading, and let's say they're not.
Okay.
Do you think that in that situation, and that's, we would say, best case scenario, because that's where they're the most peaceful, right? And this is what I'm getting at with kind of like the core government fear. In that situation, do you think it's more likely that we're able to get to them and bring the fight to their home turf before they are able to bring a nuke to us, even if they have never developed so much as a machine gun, if they have already developed interdimensional travel?
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. I understand the argument. Like, yeah. No, it's interesting to think about, like, because I think as humans, so much of our like history and development, where we are today, technologically, socially, I feel like conflict was a major part of it. Right? Like it was the drive to have some advantage over whoever you perceive to be your adversaries, sort of really push things, said technologically, socially. And I understand that. But I also wonder, I guess I'm envisioning, since we literally know like nothing about any sort of hypothetical beings from other planets, if they didn't have that impulse, just, evolutionarily didn't have to have that level of competition, that maybe that kind of like violence or competition is something that never occurred to them. But I do agree that if they're getting here, they can bring a weapon here, even if they have zero weapons, faster than we can bring a weapon to them, even though we have lots of weapons.
Exactly. And I think that you also need to think about, because you're thinking about the evolutionary piece, and I do think you can probably separate the evolutionary and cultural piece, in the sense that I do think that, like, right now within humanity, for instance, we have this attitude with other civilizations, right? Like, you see even like the US's attitude towards any other culture, any other governing type of, like, if we don't be as aggressive with them as possible, or if we don't at least be willing to be as aggressive with them as possible, like, that civilization will take over. But what I'm getting at, Jason, is when we look at lions now, yes, we have trophy hunting and shit like that, and we can talk about the ethics of it, but the attitude is not like we need to be hunting lions left and right because they're going to attack us. The attitude is we're above that, right? So I think that, like, if this civilization has evolved along the lines of, like, we've developed this level of travel, so we used to go to war with each other and we stopped that, couple thousand years ago, back in the World War I days, Civil War days, whatever, and it's just focused on this, like, it's a very different argument. I mean, the rest of the article goes into this, and I'm going to link it in the show notes, because I know we are going to be over on time.
I know,
but I do think that it is, and we have another UFO story too, so it's going to be longer. This is going to be a long episode, possibly our longest. But I mean, I do think it is fascinating, because I think that we do have the potential. Like, I think that any aliens that are here, I think that war is unlikely, because if they wanted it, they would have had it and they would have won by the time we realize it's happening. So I think to some extent, like, we do need to develop a plan for a worst case scenario. but I think that if things escalate on the UFO front, it's going to be our fault.
Yeah. You know what? I'll buy that.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I've got another UFO story coming up. We are going to take a quick break. Welcome back. Like I said, we have more UFO stories to come. This one was against the president. And this one is near somebody who has nearly the level of... this one is aliens acting against someone who has nearly the level of masculine authority as Joe Biden. God.
Oh, wow.
This is from MSN via GB News. That is Great Britain News. Okay, Britain at this point, can I just say.
Yeah.
British people will go after us for the fucking mass shootings, and it's bad.
Fair. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I hope that any mass shooters listen to different podcasts. Right. Because I don't need to... I mean, I guess at this point it would be... I guess at this point any press is good press, but,
yeah. No, yeah. I mean, maybe, but I don't really want to be... I don't want to be like the cited reason that somebody hurt somebody else.
Could people make that case for us? I feel like there was actually like, here's what I think. I think that like our energy isn't aggressive enough. I don't think we're like, I think our show is like, I think people could say that like, I think people could say their kids started cursing or like getting in trouble at school because of us if their kids were listening. Spotify demographics tell me they are not.
And please don't let them. Yeah,
please don't. Well, you know,
well, I guess it depends. Yeah,
I think I consider most of what we do. I think we need a PG-16 category. Or like a PG-15. Like PG-15 or 16. Because I wouldn't be comfortable with like a 13-year-old listening to this show, but a 15-year-old listening to this show wouldn't really bother me. And all these kids today are seeing so much worse than anything we did.
Oh,
but like,
right. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess all of this is besides the point in an episode we're already running on. So this is from GB News, MSN via GB News.
Yeah, GB,
This is a claim from a quote-unquote UFO expert, Nick Pope, that NASA is quote-unquote quietly funding theological conferences amid quote-unquote demonic fears about UFOs. And this is claimed by Nick Pope, UFO expert. I actually don't know a lot about Nick Pope. So if you are, I know there are a few ufology communities, Zephyr Nexus especially, where people do listen to this show. So if you do know about Nick Pope, please let me know. I promise I will issue a caveat, whether it's he's great, whether it's he's terrible, whether it's we don't know the vibe. Please let me know. And I will issue that caveat in the next episode at the top of the show. Nick Pope says that he believes that NASA is quote-unquote quietly funding theological conferences due to suggestions that the presence of UFOs could have something to do with demons or negative spirits. Now he said this, speaking this to Patrick Christis on GB News, that NASA wants to get ahead of the game. And what Pope had to say about this, and I understand that he's probably British, based on, I think Pope is a British last name, and then also GB News, Great Britain. So I guess I do have to, I'm contractually obligated to represent him actually, so let me just go ahead and, as you remember from my last episode, I did go to theater camp, so I think I could do this.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't believe in demons myself, but as a lot of people do, and certainly the Bible talks about, these things in terms of unclean spirits. Sorry about that pause in the middle of the sentence. The phone I was reading the quote off of blocky had the screen closed.
Wow. All right. So he doesn't believe in demons? This Pope?
Mr. Nick Pope says he doesn't believe in demons. No, sir. No, sirree, Bob.
Right. No Bob.
But what he says is that, it's very likely. Sorry, Jason. I'm getting out of it now. We actors, when we do the Stanislavski method, Stanislavski was an early method actor, which means he developed a new way to neglect his kids.
Yeah.
We get really into characters, so it just took me a moment to dial out. Sorry, I'm just going to breathe for a minute.
Sure. Yeah, no,
take actor phrases.
Take all the time you need.
Thank you. We certainly have tonight. Zip, zap, zop.
Zip, zap, zop. Yeah. Red leather, yellow leather.
Yeah. I'm going to not do the accent for the rest of it just because I think that I'll not be able to do it tonight. And I think that, my marriage could withstand a lot of things, but me becoming British is not one of them.
Sure.
Yeah. There is probably, this is still Nick Pope speaking, though. There is probably a faction still in both the US and the UK that thinks that some aspects of the UFO phenomenon are demonic. One of their reasons for believing that is a passage in the book of Ephesians in the Bible. Jason, I know I'm a Jew boy, so you might know more about this one than I do, because this is not in the real Bible. That talks about Satan as being the prince of the power of the air. Right. That sounds cool as fuck. That sounds like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It really sort of does. Yeah. No,
I literally pictured Aang as I read that sentence.
No, totally. It does sound cool as shit. I actually was not familiar with that. Appalachian?
Not Appalachian. No, I don't think it's from there. Mr. Mormon.
No, I was like honorific or that title for Satan as being master of the power of the air. Yeah, no, that's solid. Yeah,
that sounds like.
I want to put that in my email signature. Jason Strong, master of the power of the air. Right.
Don't. I guess that explains why. At the end of the Bible, Jesus says, "My understanding." Sorry, as you know, I'm not a Christian. My understanding is at the end of the Bible, Jesus says, "Heading out again, guys. Just make sure that Nickelodeon never makes an anime."
Right. Yep.
Again, this is Nick Pope. I think that it is undeniable that many of the world's great religions have in recent years started to think seriously and do some theological debate about what the consequences would be of discovering extraterrestrial life. We know that the Catholic Church, for example, has issued several statements on this. One of them said that there is no doctrinal objection to the existence of aliens because, as they put it, man may place no creative limits upon God. I don't talk about religion on the podcast because, part of it is that I play I am partially playing a character on this show that I don't think, Jason knows me more in real life, and I think it's fair to say I'm not. If I was always the way I am on this show, we probably wouldn't be friends.
No, we absolutely wouldn't.
No. But I don't talk about it that way. I don't talk about it because I don't know what people's religious views are. I don't talk about it in part because I do think that the type of comedy I do is not what, and mainly because I don't think the type of comedy I do is what you guys would want to associate with a religious comedian. But I am Jewish, and my religion is important to me. But I do think that kind of like my thoughts on that are kind of in line. Where my thoughts on being Jewish or whatever religion is like there's a lot in life that I don't understand. So if there is people on Mars, it's just a new opportunity to learn from them too.
Sure. Yeah. No. And I think that his claim that different religions are thinking about this more seriously. Yeah, that tracks.
That's definitely true. I mean, I've definitely heard people talk a lot about both this and artificial intelligence, kind of, especially both kind of at the same time, really blowing up. And the latter being something we talk a lot less about on this show. Both being things that are kind of seriously looked into, like within, the Jewish world. And I've definitely heard similar things from Muslims and Buddhists and Christians, but it doesn't necessarily seem like. I just can't necessarily think of a way where aliens prove or disprove anything beyond they have new religions that you need to deal with rhetorically, right? It's a new culture and they probably have their own religion. or like lack thereof, or like lack of a religious tradition at all.
Right.
It probably deals with the impulse that you have to convert people, and I wonder if that's what's kind of like hard for both of us to think about, because
maybe, yeah.
Because in Judaism, there's not really like in Judaism, there's no impulse to convert people at all. And then, I mean, you're not a religious person, and you're also not like you're not one of those types of like atheists who wants everyone to stop believing in religion either, right? So it's kind of like, I think that if you're not from, and I think that like Catholicism is a very broad religion. If you're not from like a religion that's really like, we need to convert whoever, and they need to believe what we do and prove what we believe, like I do think that it becomes less of a problem.
No, I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's all interesting. What it makes me think of, when I went back to I enrolled in college at when I was 25, a little bit late. I went to Northern Kentucky University. By the way,
for our listeners, and once again, like maybe we are getting a bit too serious on this show because we're already at our longest episode, so why the fuck not? If you want to do a new thing, it's never too late in life. I thought maybe I thought maybe the ship had sailed on becoming a comedian, and I'm actually succeeding at it now because I found my voice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes some time to find who you want to be.
No, exactly. No, I'm almost I'm in my late 40s and just past summer bought a longboard. That's true. You're gonna do so. Yeah, do whatever you want. Anyway, Northern Kentucky University in 1999, I took a philosophy class. Think it's probably okay if I say his name.
Yeah, do you think? Definitely. I don't give a shit. Do you respect him?
Yeah, I would say overall yes, even though
as I'm about to go into, enough not to say his name.
No.
If he's also a public intellectual, I do feel like you put yourself on the record with your positions. So like that's also like that's my serious answer.
Yeah,
if you're asking my producer answer.
Thank you. He really smart guy, Dr. Robert Trundle, professor of philosophy.
Certainly the smartest Trundle.
Amongst the top Trundles, I would have to think. But he was very Catholic, older guy. This was being a philosophy professor was like his second act. I think he was an engineer before that. Very Catholic, and a big proponent of at the time UFOs, now UAPs, but being I don't think I'm going to say that. But UAPs, as being like, yes, there are, other intelligences, and they're coming to visit Earth. Like the government has evidence. They've been coming for decades, if not, hundreds of years. And he did in his lecture, and it didn't matter what philosophy class you took, whether it was, intro to philosophy, existentialism, symbolic logic. Every class was the same in that he would talk about how Catholicism is the true religion. The biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes humanity made was the Protestant Reformation.
Of course.
Catholicism is the true religion, and that the UFOs are coming down to warn us as humanity that we need to return to the Word of God. There's some kind of spiritual ambassador.
Can I ask a counter question that you might have heard since you took several classes with this man, right?
Please do.
Why are there no like alien cardinals then? Like, I know the Vatican does allegedly have information on aliens, legit, like in the archives, and I do actually believe that because they are also a world government. But like, why? And it was with their theological. Yeah. Like, if the aliens are explicitly Catholic, I just think the church would be all over that shit and would be like, hey, why don't one of you guys become a cardinal? Because they're going to see all we need is alien pope, and then we have them.
Right. Well,
It's not alien pope, but alien cardinal. Like one alien cardinal in the alien in the College of Cardinals, or a few.
Yes.
And you say like, oh, this is like if you kept the Pope human. I don't want to give the Catholic Church ideas. I'm not trying to court Jew here.
They do not need our help. Yeah.
Well, you know, they always blame a Jewish guy. Why the Italians always blame a Jewish guy for something? Why don't they take our ideas for once? But like, I think that the church should keep the Pope human, but have a few different alien civilizations represented within the College of Cardinals as the bishop of their planet, but keep them a significant minority within the College of Cardinals, enough that you could officially claim that the College of Cardinals is an anthropocentric intergalactic senate.
Mm-hmm.
And then effectively, for propaganda purposes, you have them.
Mm-hmm. I'm not Dr. Trundle, even though I took numerous classes because, frankly, once you got his bullshit down, like you knew you were going to get an A.
You
said it was always the same shit.
That shows me how much you respect him. I'm glad we clarified you respect him.
Right. I believe his answer would be that 2 parts. The first is that the Vatican probably already does that, but not publicly. And they don't do it publicly because there is a deliberate cover-up by the U.S. world governments, because they don't want the populations to know that Catholicism, as being proselytized by these aliens, is real, because then they'll lose control over people.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
I wish you would.
So Catholicism is the one true religion.
Right. According to Dr. Trundle.
Yes, according to Dr. Trundle. I said,
not me.
I'm Jewish. Yeah. I'm Jewish. That's why I chose comedy. It was either that or become a doctor, and I got shaky hands. So Catholicism is the one true religion. And the proof of that is that the Catholic Church is publicly lying.
No. The proof of that, this is well beyond the scope of this. There are the proofs of that are the same bank of proof that most devout Christians use. So things like someone had to create the universe. You know, there's order instead of chaos.
Literal philosophy from the year 1100.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly right. Like Christian apologia circa or via St. Thomas Aquinas, like Roman time. Yeah. Yes, it's very much most of contemporary philosophy, at least in sort of the secular academic system, is well past all of that. But there are still holdout. Certainly, like your Catholic thinkers and Christian thinkers would lean heavily on that.
But like the Jesuits are beyond that, and I feel they're definitely at least. So at least for me, it's like once again, like within Judaism, like there are definitely people, like especially in the more like fundamentalist world, that think like that. But then also there are definitely people who don't think like that, and like we don't need to get into the God question. What I think Nicholas Pope thinks, getting back to the UFO question, getting back to things that are definitely real, is that the U.S. government basically is funding these conferences to deal with a lot of these religious fears. So that once you have these conferences, it becomes less of a panic when you do eventually have to have disclosure. I think we've talked about sort of the difference between controlled and catastrophic disclosure, right?
Right.
So for our audience, controlled disclosure is the government doing a release of things at their pace that they feel the government can handle. That it's obviously a pretty broad spectrum. Catastrophic disclosure is information that's destabilizing. The most extreme version of catastrophic disclosure is we find out about aliens during the invasion. is like the most extreme version of catastrophic disclosure. A less extreme version of that is we find out about aliens and the Catholic Church folds because they have no way to deal with it. Or not even Catholic Church, but like your personal church folds is a much less extreme version of that. Whether you're Catholic or Protestant or your synagogue or your mosque or your temple or your Buddhist temple or whatever the fuck. So the idea I think that Nicholas Pope is talking about, at least my understanding, from a cursory read of the article, is that when you go public with certain types of information, there are consequences.
Yeah.
So now there has obviously it is noted that there is still division about whether or not the evidence we've seen of UFOs or UAPs actually accounts for extraterrestrial life. The other two major possibilities, I guess the other possibilities being unexplained natural phenomena, adversary military technology, or extra-dimensional life. I think I've talked about on this show before that genuinely I do think that, like, even though extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional seem the least likely at the outset, I actually think they're the most likely the more you think about it. And it's not just because I smoke weed before this show. It's also because it's also because, in my opinion, if it was foreign military technology, we'd have found out the hard way because we have shown every other country our technology the hard way. And unexplained natural phenomena, I think that a lot of this stuff, when it's been unexplained natural phenomena, I think we figured it out. And a lot of these cases do seem to be beyond that. And I also think people know what balloons are, is the other explanation that you see bandied about.
Fascinating.
So they go on to the different hypotheses in this article. I'm not necessarily going to go into it now because we're over on time. But I think that sort of the core question of what does any form of UAP disclosure, if we're talking about extraterrestrial or even extra-dimensional beings mean for religion, I think is an interesting one.
No, I totally agree.
But I don't think that I think it's a combination of like people can adjust their knowledge and they can adjust their beliefs. I don't think that unless an extra-dimensional being is outright coming and I can see extra-dimensional actually being more catastrophic than extraterrestrial because like an extra-dimensional being potentially could have access to a level of knowledge that we wouldn't know. But even then, I just think people really underestimate the ability of people and institutions to both adjust their beliefs and adjust their rhetoric, and then and adapt, and in the absence of all of that, to deny entirely. So I could see it becoming a problem within sort of the various fundamentalist interpretations of religion, but. I think religion's a lot more is a lot more about these sort of like hard epistemic God claims, and I think ends up being a lot more about culture and narrative and the ability to find the stories to fall back on and all that. So
no, I agree. No, but it's still interesting. I'd be curious to hear any sort of like theological perspectives on the existence of extraterrestrial intelligences.
Underworld News Tonight at gmail.com.
That's squared
or our email or the question reply on Spotify, please.
Yeah. No, thanks.
I already said we had a Spotify question. Cool. I think I said something else as a joke, but maybe we could do that instead.
Yeah, I don't remember what you said. So it probably has something to do with that guy's dick.
Don't answer a question about that guy. Get either tell me about extraterrestrials and God or whatever the fuck I asked about that guy's dick. I forget.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, I know we've been really brief today, but and we'd love to spend more time with the audience. But if you could just take us home, maybe on some on a lighter note than bleeding dicks at Hungry Jack's. Alien invasions and Martians v. God.
Let me regale you with a tale of suspected international espionage. This story, I'm pulling this story from the Times of India.
Ooh.
Seen this going around. Suspected Chinese spy pigeon released after 8 months. Mumbai police. Uh, byline. Wait, is that byline? When it says Mumbai. That's not the byline.
I think the byline is the writer.
It's like the
byline is like who wrote it. Yeah, so that would be the subheading.
Whatever. Yeah. Mumbai. Yeah. Pigeon suspected to have been used for spying by China. Released by the Sakarbai Dinshwa Petit Hospital for Animals in Mumbai.
When we're pronouncing the words from other cultures, Jason, we just got to go in confident and hope they don't say anything.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
All right.
Because I think I'm usually wrong, but the audience doesn't call me out because I don't come in like, I don't know. I just go like, it's Jimmy John's.
You're right.
And they're like, no, it's called the Taj Mahal.
Right. Yeah. How awesome would that be? Taj Mahal was the first Jimmy John's.
2 in 1, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really weird. Anyway, the bird was caught 8 months ago by the Purpau jetty in suburban Timber by the RCF, which is the Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers Police. Now, what a cool name for a police force.
Okay, so that is a very cool name. That is a very... I'm sorry, Jason. That is the least cool name for a police force, number one. Number two, can I offer an additional constructive criticism? So these are the Chemicals and Fertilizers Police, right?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they arrested a bird.
They caught a pigeon. That's correct.
So I'm not a scientist, as we discussed when we talked about wind chill.
Right, yeah.
Is a bird a chemical or a fertilizer? Underworld News Tonight at gmail.com.
You know, I think in a very broad sense, it's both. It is composed of chemicals and ultimately becomes a fertilizer.
Oh, man.
But no, it does. It does not detail the circumstances of the pigeon's apprehension by the Chemical and Fertilizer Police. But the pigeon had 2 rings. One made of copper and another made of aluminum tied to its leg. There were messages written in as per the article, Chinese-like script on the underside of both wings. So this seems like if this was a spy pigeon, it's not doing a great job of, blending in.
Yeah.
Like maybe it should have went without the writing.
Well, I think that the point is that of a spy pigeon is that they deliver a message to somebody. So, because it's not like the pigeon's not going to fucking tell you what it's.
No.
So it's either I think now they probably carry some sort of I don't know, a fucking a smaller version of a camera or something. But spy pigeon listeners, let us know. And thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you.
But and I stand up for you.
Yeah, you know what? I
will
too. Spy pigeons.
Thank you.
Good on you. So, article goes on to say the police, again, Chemical and Fertilizer Police, you do not want to run afoul of those guys. They registered a case of spying against the bird. So they actually filed charges on this bird. Again, the bird was housed for 8 months at the veterinary facility that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce again.
No, go for it. Jason.
The bird was housed. Again, the bird was incarcerated at the Sakarbai Dinshaw Petit Hospital for Animals in Mumbai. Now, okay. I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Finish up the story, and then we can. I have some thoughts.
I'm glad that it went. I'm glad that the pigeon went to the animal hospital though to be incarcerated though, and didn't go to animal prison.
That is,
and have to be next to a iguana rapist.
Right. See, that's the problem, right? Is you have these low level offenders. You're shoplifting raccoons. You're your foxes that committed vandalism, and they get locked
falsely
up.
accused spy pigeons.
Right. And then you get locked up and you're with a moose accused of manslaughter.
Yeah, I know.
Of rape and murder.
All right, yeah. Manslaughter's not that bad. Manslaughter's an accident.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Manslaughter sounds worse than this. Manslaughter is the crime that George Costanza would commit.
Yeah. So anyway, the pigeon was incarcerated during the 8 months, which 8 months seems like a crazy long amount of time to investigate a pigeon.
Isn't that like 90% of their life?
Right. Like this pigeon probably spent the equivalent of 20 years in prison.
Yeah, this is like the fucking pigeon version of the West Memphis 3.
Right. Yeah, that is unacceptable. I don't know the Indian justice system though. But anyway, ultimately, the pigeon was exonerated. Turns out the pigeon was participating in a racing event in Taiwan and had accidentally flown to India, and then again was nabbed by the chemical and fertilizer.
Jason, I think this is a good time actually, just for our audience to know, because it was accused of being a Chinese spy pigeon, and this was a racing event in Taiwan. Can we briefly explain the Taiwanese independence movement and the geopolitical dispute over Taiwan vis-a-vis China, and sort of where we might stand on that as hosts in a show?
No, we can't. We can't do that briefly.
Okay, sorry, move on.
But anyone with a cursory understanding of geography, how is a racing pigeon in Taiwan in India? I guess it doesn't say where they're racing.
Birds are fucking fast.
Well, right, but I guess I don't know where they were racing to. Was it like a pigeon version of the Cannonball Run? Like they have 24 hours.
The thing is, once a fucking racing pigeon gets off course, what are you going to be like, turn around? Oh, he's fucking God, isn't he?
Well, I don't know. Don't the pigeons have famously a great sense of direction? That's why they were used for.
Yeah, if they fucking want to come back.
Well, I guess that's true.
If they want to go, those were patriotic pigeons.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Now I'm picturing a story.
Or they were fucking a Nazi's wife.
Well, I'm picturing. So this pigeon, growing up in Taiwan, parents really lean on the pigeon. You're going to be a racing pigeon, goddammit. Your father was a racing pigeon, grandfather, his father. It's tradition, it's honor, it's in your blood. Pigeon does not want to do it. Pigeon wants to be, I don't know, a chef. So the race starts, the pigeon hightails it to India to get the fuck away from his family.
Okay.
And that's the story behind this. I don't know. That's what pops in my head.
That's a much better idea than my last movie pitch.
What was your last movie pitch?
Oppenheimer Babies.
Actually, that sounds really good. Are they puppets or?
No, they are actual human babies. We do teach to act.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And as you said, this does actually end on a happy note. Bird's medical condition was reported to be in good health, and the pigeon was released.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Man. So, can I... I hate to malign this pigeon that was recently perhaps falsely incarcerated.
Sure.
Can I wildly and irresponsibly speculate on the personal life of this pigeon in a way that would potentially cause it private harm?
Yeah.
Sure. Lance Armstrong, right?
Right.
Famous cyclist.
Yeah.
Famous testicle loss survivor, which is why he's one of your personal heroes, is my understanding. And I do apologize for that podcasting accident again. famous for his bracelets as well, right?
Yeah.
But then a bit of a scandal, right? This pigeon. What did he have on again that got him arrested?
Copper and aluminum rings.
Aluminum rings around what?
It said tied to his leg.
Tied to his leg in a sort of bracelet-like fashion, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I think this might have been. I think there's a pigeon dope ring that if the chemical and fertilizer police were the bird and steroid police and they had handed it over to the proper department, could have been dealt with. That's all I'm saying.
Could be. Or it could be that, again, the sort of theory I'm developing here, the picture that's coming together is that the animals are rising up against us. And
well, how is this animal rising us against us? It just flew into India and got arrested and then left and didn't fight back.
The pigeon was, in fact, a spy, but not a spy for a human nation. It was a spy for the pigeon nation.
So you think the pigeons speak a modified version of Han Chinese?
Well, I mean, he was undercover as a racing pigeon.
So he was undercover as a racing pigeon, as a spy for the pigeons.
Yes, I think pigeons speak pigeon. Okay. But he was in Taiwan, and so that's, as being undercover. So if I'm gonna go undercover, as one does, in France, you may find me with like French logos, or if I'm carrying documents, they're in French, but that doesn't mean I chose that language, or
that's true.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they do teach you it in your, sort of. I mean, I know you pick up. I mean, that's kind of how you got your job,
right?
I guess Jason has a theory, and to any of our pigeon spy listeners seeking the overthrow of mankind for your avian civilization, might I just say, squawk, squawk,
squawk, indeed. Yeah.
Anyway, solidarity. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoy this show, follow us or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We should be everywhere. If we're not where you listen to your podcasts, how the fuck are you listening to us? But if you are actually listening to us somewhere inconvenient, please let us know. underworldnewstonight@gmail.com or messages on Facebook. I personally, Andrew Michaels, will get back to you and try to get us there, unless it's like unless there's some reason that I can't. In which case I will tell you that. The second thing is please buy our merch. By the time the show is up, we're gonna have that ready. So be on that first list. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And if you have bought the merch, if you do buy the merch, and you for whatever reason, everything I've looked at, it seems like it's pretty good. But if for whatever reason you do end up buying the merch and you're not happy with it, underworldnewstonight@gmail.com. Let us know. We will be happy to help you out, because like I said, we're new at this, and just like whether it's an episode of the show or a piece of merchandise, we want to put out the best quality possible. Jason, should people follow you on Instagram? I think you have an Instagram, right? Where you do all sorts of fun little art projects.
Yeah, it's been Jason V. Strong, and you're getting into some creative endeavors. You're
on Instagram
back
myself.
To stand up, right? Yeah,
I am getting back into stand up comedy. I'm trying to post 2 or 3 clips a week from 5-minute sets. You can find those at Andrew Michaels 95 on Instagram or Andrew Michaels Comedy on TikTok. And if you live in Central Illinois and you want to see my 5-minute sets in their entirety, including watching the jokes that don't work, that I don't post.
And why would you? You're in Central Illinois. It's not like there's a whole lot else to do.
There is, trust me, there's not a whole lot else to do. You know what? Come to the Space in Urbana on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. I'm there most weeks. I try to write a lot and workshop a lot, because I kind of think that's the key to doing all this. So come, if you listen to the show and you want to talk to me, please do, because I would love to, get to know you. What else do we have to talk about, Jason? Do we have anything else to talk about? We talked about they should follow the show. Oh, answer any of the questions. Buy the merch if you share the show and tag us or email us. Just do something that we know you did it. If you know us personally, you let us know personally. You might be able to win a free hat, so let us know.
If you like it, tell others. At gunpoint if necessary.
Exactly. No, at gunpoint preferably. But then you got to sit there with the gun held out so they listen to the whole episode. So do like arm extension exercises to make sure you keep it hard. Because once your hand starts shaking, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to, especially with today, the longest episode. It does take a lot to hold the gun the whole time. Anyway, you know what? I know what you guys are thinking, by the way. Oh, this was the longest episode. I wasted my time listening to it. They don't have to worry about that, Jason. Do you know why they don't need to worry about that?
I'll bet you're going to tell me.
Because
I think I could.
It is. Get this. Other than right now, it is all phantom time. But right now,
it's all phantom time. But right now, yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.